the average calcium content of the product. Actually, we know that calcium naturally occurred in soybean. The amount is not abundant. But to create this kind of processed food, people add a lot of chemicals, especially calcium sulfide, to coagulate them together. So it is enriched by this one. But as we know, the milk calcium is more healthier and higher bioavailability. But this kind of inorganic compound, the calcium is also okay, but bioavailability is not so high. I checked the tofu. I think maybe the name is called dogan. Okay, that just the 4 or 5 pieces of this one is enough to the recommendation value 1,000 milligrams of calcium for an adult in Taiwan. What does it mean? I know the quality of this kind of calcium is from the food additives. It's not from the natural milk calcium, but the price here is cheaper. As long as you have a chance to enter the cafeteria, you can enjoy the maybe. Sorry, next time I will check the name in English. Very similar to tofu, and the calcium is very rich. Calcium is very rich. So, okay, you can do it. Okay, let's switch to our. Okay, I just gave you this website. Today we are talking about the fate, and this textbook is from Cooking, Chemistry of Cooking, chapter number 3. Because next week we will use some maybe soybean oil, maybe sunflower oil to prepare some snacks. Okay, first understanding fats and oil. Okay, fats and oil are organic compounds like a carbohydrate and are composed with the elements carbon C, hydrogen H, and oxygen O, arranged to form molecules. There are many types of fats and oil, and a number of terms and concepts associated with them. The first one, lipid. In baking, lipids are generally a synonym for fats. Baking books may talk about the lipid content of the eggs, for example. Okay, generally we think about lipids is generally is liquid in room temperature, in our language, and triglyceride. Tri means 1, 2, 3. 3. Glyceride is a compound. A structure of compound. Triglyceride is another chemical name for the most common type of fats found in body. And do you heard about lecithin? Lecithin, very enriched in eggs. That is emulsifier. We mentioned that last week. Sorry, 3 weeks ago. That is not triglyceride. That's diglyceride because the third hand is different. Later I will explain it. Very common types found in body, indicating that they are usually made up for three in maybe in Greek, maybe in Latin. It's called tri. Fatty acids and one molecule of glycerol or glycerin is another name, as shown in Figure 3. The mono and diglycerides that are used as emulsifier have 1 or 2 fatty acids respectively. And here is the structure: glycerol, fatty acid number 1, number 2, number 3. So it's called a triglyceride. And actually, number 1, 2, 3, they may be identical. They can be different. It depends on the structure or depends on producer. Maybe the soybean, maybe sunflower, maybe different plant seeds. Fatty acids. Each kind of fat or oil has different combination of fatty acids. The nature of fatty acid will determine the consistency of the fat or oil. For example, stearic. When I was a college student, I read it stearic, but actually it can be read as stearic. Stearic acid is the major fatty acid in beef fat, and the linoleic. My English is Taiwanese accent, but I try to read it as clear as I can. Linoleic acid is dominant in seed oil. And fatty acids are defined as short, medium, and long chain, depending on the number of atoms in the molecule. The reason that some fat melts gradually is that the temperature rises as each fatty acid will in turn soft as the melting point is reached. Okay, fat and the melting O of the standard mean the fatty acids are the same or similar type of having melting point. Okay, it doesn't matter now. Okay, let's move. Okay, table one shows the characteristics of 3 fatty acids here. For example, stearic fatty acid, the melting point is 69 degrees Celsius. Solid oleic acid, 16. Liquid linoleic acid, minus 12 degrees Celsius. Okay, and resid is a term used to indicate the fat has spoiled. Wow, it's not good. The fat takes on an unpleasant flavor when exposed to the air and heat and water. Unsalted butter, for example, will go rancid quickly if left outside of the refrigerator, especially in warm climate. Okay, so it means the fat is spoiled. Oxidation and anti or anti, either one is okay. Oxidation and antioxidant. Oxidation is a chemical term. It means the oxidation number of one or several atoms are rising. It's called oxidation. So I will not waste your time to explain too much, because if you are interested, you can check information online. Oxidation causes acidity in fat over time. This is made worse by combination with certain metal, especially copper, because the copper can catalyze the reaction. This is why donuts are never fried in copper pan. Ooh, okay. As I know, copper pan is very popular in Italy dishes, but it's not popular in Taiwan. Copper pan donuts. Okay. Some oil contain natural antioxidants. What does it mean? The kind of compound, when we read DANTS or ANTS, it's not about the small insect ant. No, it's about a compound. Antioxidants such as tocopherol. Tocopherol is a scientific name of vitamin E. But actually, vitamin E is not only one single compound. Vitamin E has many friends. Their family has many members, and we call tocopherol. Actually, at least it has 1, 2, 3, maybe 8 or more members in the family. Vitamin E is one kind, but they are often destroyed during the processing. As a result, manufacturers add synthetic antioxidant to retard residity. BHA or BHT, they are synthetic antioxidants, but some reports said the high amount of BHA and BHT are carcinogenic. It may cause cancer. It's called carcinogenic. But those two are not banned in Taiwan. Still available legally in Taiwan. Okay, but there is one good news. Generally, you buy food, even the big tank oil or small amount of oil, it's not easy to see the additive BHA or BHT. Well, I don't know why, because I think maybe Taiwanese, the consumers emphasize less additives in the oil. Okay. The synthetic antioxidant commonly used by fat manufacturers, And maybe you can check next time if you have more chance to. Next time, if you eat, do you know what is instant noodles in Taiwan? Instant noodles, but in Japan they call it ramen. But different in our language, ramen is different type of food. But I watched some comics in the US. They call the instant noodles in Taiwan called ramen. I don't know why. I don't know why. Okay. If you have chance to check the labeling on the package, you may have chance to read the oil used in the instant noodles contains a lot of contains BHA or BHT. Okay. And another concept, saturated or unsaturated. Okay. Saturated and unsaturated refer to the extent to which the carbon atoms in the molecule of fatty acid linked or bonded. That's saturated. I'm full. I'm full. I cannot eat more. I'm full. Okay. I'm hungry. That is unsaturated because it can eat some hydrogen atoms. It can add some hydrogen atoms to the structure. Okay. One system of the fatty acid classification is based on the number of the double bonds. Okay. The first one, 0 double bonds. The second one, 1 double bond, 2 or more double bonds. It's a kind of classification. And sure, you have the concepts because in the future, you were doing business internationally. So I believe you have more chance to understand this. Maybe you already learned that from when you were a high school student, but no problem. I think you can review the knowledge here. 0 double bonds. 0 double bonds. See, it's very weird here. 0, but the bonds is in plural. 1, that's single, so it's no S after bond. 2 or more is plural, not singular. So it's very interesting. So what does it mean? 0 is singular, or 0 is plural. Okay. 0 double bonds, saturated fatty acids. Stearic is the typical one. Okay. And here the structure. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blah, blah, blah. Here this one. There are 18 carbon atoms in a molecule, and you can see, except that this is functional group, except this one, all bonds. The line you can call it dash or hyphen. I prefer to call it hyphen. The hyphen between each carbon atoms, there is one single, just one. It means single bond. And this one, no double bonds. This one is a double bond, but it's not this classification. Okay, next one. Mono, it means single or one. Monounsaturated fatty acids. Oleic acid is a typical monounsaturated fatty acid, oleic acid. If we are choosing our department student, they need to memorize those terms. But it depends. You are not the major in food science and nutrition, so it depends. If you like, you can memorize those terms. See here is a double bond here. Here is a double bond here, and totally there are 18 carbons in a molecule. Okay, and here is a concept that is called note that the double bond is cis, cis. It means the structure of this one is different, and it's not important for you, but it's important for our department student because they need to memorize this one. About this structure, H is for hydrogen atom. There is you can see equal, 1 plus 2 equals 3 equal, but we call it double bond. the double bond here, and we can see the structure here. We just check the carbon here, go through the double bond and go to the other way. They are locating on the same side. It's called cis. It's called cis. Okay, why is so important? Because many years ago, maybe 10 years ago, there is a scandal, embarrassing scandal happened in Taiwan about illegal food additives has been added to some food. It's very embarrassing scandal. Okay, I will skip this part. And the other side, C double bond here, and hydrogen, carbon chain, hydrogen, carbon. You can see those two groups of carbon chains are locating on the opposite side. This structure is called a trans. Yes, it's about trans fatty acid. I believe all of you already heard about the term trans fatty acid. The same meaning, trans. The definition is in a C double bond molecule, the carbon chain are locating on the different side. It's called trans. Sorry, I cannot explain it in English very well because I don't know how to explain it. But the cis, they are located on the same side. Theoretically, the chemical structure, the trans is more stable. But I don't know why. Maybe the God, the Jesus created this kind of structure. Almost natural fatty acid with the double bond having the same structure, cis structure. I don't know why. Because maybe it's more stable in plant oil and animal oils. But theoretically, in chemical, the trend is more stable. And now I believe you have heard about one thing: the harmful of the hazards from trans fatty acids. For example, you can search the hazard of trans fatty acid. Otherwise, okay. Hazard. Okay, I miss very sorry. Okay. If you're interested, you can select the notes here and copy paste to on your notes. But here, just a reminder. The AI summarized this, but it's not a good source. You can get a concept, but it's not a good source. And here, World Health Organization, WHO, okay. The WHO is a reliable source of this information. For example, you can trans fat clogs entries increase the risk of heart attacks and death. You can copy and type this and write down your opinions. Like this one. Okay, and so if you want to write down your notes, you can write like this, because one dimension the trans fatty acid and the structure look like this. And another a little bit of reliable source is about Wikipedia, and you can check this. Mayo Clinic is called clinic. Clinic in Taiwan, it means a small, very small hospital, right? But Mayo Clinic is a very big hospital in the US. But I just think maybe in the beginning they have this name, but after that it becomes a big hospital. I don't know, okay? And here, National Institute of Health, NIH. We know that it's an academic article in the NIH. It's a reliable source. It's a reliable source, like this one. And sure, if you want to, you can check Wikipedia. You can check Wikipedia to get the knowledge. Okay. If you we are not a formal course about the academic writing, so I would not prohibit you to use the citation from Wikipedia. But in the future, if you want to editing some notes, for example, oh, 1 minute, please. Let me show you. Okay, check this. Oh, 1 minute, please. What happened? For example, a student in our department and we are editing a poster. The topic is comparison of nutrients in vegetarian guidelines from different countries, the perspective of Taiwan. Because after the survey, I know some of you are vegetarians, and we did this kind of topic. And we have a reference here. Let me show you. See, we just check the countries and their guidelines about vegetarian or vegans, different. We summarize the nutrition emphasized, and here the sources are reliable. Here, the sources are reliable. Then we can use it for our academic report. Okay, academic report. Okay. Okay, and let's come back here again. Here is the cis structure of the fatty acid. You can write down some information about the fatty acid in the trans form, especially the hazardous caused by the trans fatty acid. Two or more double bonds. Two or more is called poly. American accent is called poly or poly. Either one is okay. Unsaturated fatty acid, linoleic acid. It means this structure has one and two double bonds, two sets of double bonds. And if you can memorize this one, or you don't need to memorize this one. It's okay. Here, the structure here, one and two unsaturated bonds here, double bonds here, and it's called linoleic acid. Okay, let's move. Okay. And saturated fat are a type of fat found in food. For many years, there has been concern about the saturated fat may lead to an increased risk of heart disease. Okay, actually, there are two major types of plant oil contains a lot of saturated fat. Can you guess that? Coconut, yeah, coconut. And how about the other one? Sorry, the second one. Palm oil. Palm, yeah, right. Sorry, yeah. Palm oil. Yeah, the palm oil is the second one. I remember maybe 10 or 20 years ago when I just finished my study and come back to Taiwan. My mother bought a bottle of coconut oil. And you know, my younger sister is a nurse. And my younger brother at the time was a PhD student for major in biochemistry. And my mother asked, why you three kids all against me to buy this? I say, it's very embarrassing because my mother, okay, forget it, okay. My mother bought a bottle of the coconut oil. And you know, we three brothers and sisters, our background is about biochemistry. So we know that too much saturated fat is not good for us. It's not good for us. But my mother didn't know that. Didn't know that. Oh, come on. Does it mean we have a break time now? Then we can see you next week. Okay, let me finish this part. Then we can have a break. Okay, we can finish our course. For many years, there has been concern about that due to the increase of heart disease. However, there has been studied to the contrary, and the literature is so conclusive. So just one thing, scientific research has different conclusions, and maybe some of them are correct, maybe some of them are not correct. We don't know. We don't know that. The general assumption of that less saturated fat is the better as far as health is concerned. Okay. For the fat manufacturer, however, low saturated fat labels make it difficult to process oil and will send up to the high temperature. Generally, if you plan to produce fried foods, for example, the donuts or some fried foods, the more saturated fat will be stable. Okay. So the high temperature necessary for process as a deep fry. Hydrogenation, it means to add hydrogen atoms into the oil. It's called hydrogenation. Has been technology solution. Hydrogenation we'll discuss later in this chapter. Okay. Let me finish now. Then we can finish the course today. Fatty acid, saturated fat, is found in many foods, animal foods, like beef, chicken, lamb, pork, and veal, coconut, palm, and palm kernel oil. Actually, we Taiwanese, we buy the edible oil, plant oil from the supermarket. But actually, for example, I buy the green fried pan or cake, and the vendors always use the big tank of the oil, and I believe there will be a lot of palm oil inside because they need to fry the fried oil, not only the. So I don't want to frustrate you. Next time when you have your meal from the student cafeteria or somewhere, don't expect too much. Don't expect, because the cost of the commercial usable oil is cheaper than the small package of the oil. Okay, see you next week. And next time I will remind you again. Next time I will give you the ingredients of the snacks. If you want, if you don't like to eat, you don't need to eat. And prepare your own tableware next week. Yeah, I will remind you again, maybe in a weekend. Okay, have a nice Monday, everybody.